I don't have any tooth. I'll admit it. I will brag. Those players did not just go and whip that ass for us to be like, oh, good game. No, we whipped your ass. We took $800,000. Now we're partying with it.
Yeah, who cares if you're in the Power 5 conference if you don't win it, ever? Or you don't beat any of the teams in it? Like, what's the point of that? Wouldn't you rather win the conference and say, like, hey, my team is good, than lose the conference and say, well, our conference is good?
Well, I'll tell you what, I got two teams that got me gassed up. It's going to be a hell of a battle. Be like two dogs fighting over a milk bun.
Look, they don't call me Tip for nothing. And my tip is, look out for the group of 5 this season. They've been taking it to the Power 5 year after year.
The only quarterbacks that ever get any love are from the Power 5. I could easily list off the top group of 5 quarterbacks I would rather have than those guys. I would be willing to bet that at least one of them is going to be in the running for the Heisman this year.
Oh, it is great to be back with you all. Episode number 7, Group of 5 Guys, the podcast. I am your host, Matt Sprouse. We're finally reunited after a week off without our one and only Swag Bear. Jesse, it's great to have you back. How are you this evening?
Hey, we looking at week 3 on a Monday night. Group of 5 slate cannot debate. Got Fresno gonna cover. Boise State gonna take the Cowboys all the way. Tulane visiting Oxford. Run behind Sincere, there is no fear. Got Cincy, gonna be Indiana. Power 5 win, ain't no doubting it. Lastly, look at Memphis. Gonna be close, but Liberty gonna explode. Doing great, Sprouse. It's great to be back, baby. Week 3, I know you missed me.
Jeff, good to see you. How are you, bud?
I don't even know what to say after that. Oh, goodness gracious. I'm fantastic, Sprouse. Another great week of Group of 5 college football, ready to rock and roll. I think we got a couple new Heisman quarterbacks on the scene here, so we'll see and read some of those stats later. But glad to be here, man.
We might, Jess. That was. I can't believe you did that. I mean, of all the years we were roommates.
I can tell by your face you're impressed. I know.
Yeah, I didn't know you could sing like that. You know what I mean?
Well,
very good.
That needs to be the new intro.
What's his face? Is Georgia Southern? Who's the one supporting our
Gavin Adcock.
Yeah, Devin Adcock. I'm talking about the country singer that was.
Cole Swindell.
Yeah, let's get him. Tag him. Make that a clip. Let's rock and roll. Let's get this thing rolling.
I think that's a really good idea to start really promoting that out.
You know, I didn't know how to get my introduction started. I missed last week, but there's just so much I want to talk about. It's gonna be a good show.
Yeah, no doubt. Tyler Tipton, it's good to see you, sir. How are you this evening?
Great to see you too, Sprouse. To be honest with you, boys, I'm a little down because of these games this past weekend. App State loses by 2. Toledo loses by 3. Miami of Ohio loses by 5. Tulsa loses by 5. WKU loses by 3. All 5 of those teams lost by a total combined points of 18. Yeah, and that's right 15 there. More points than Buffalo scored with their high-powered offense against Nebraska.
Well, and the worst part about it for you, Tip, is Team Tipton loses probably by 2 to Team Sprouse in fantasy football. Zeke, as always, it is good to see you down there. How are you this evening?
I'm doing well. What's up, fellas? How's it going?
Well, we've got a great show for you guys tonight. We got another awesome guest coming at you. We got Utah State offensive line coach Micah James coming on here in a little bit. We're going to recap last week's games, talk about this week's games. I mean, it's going to be a great time. As always, follow us on Twitter and Instagram, Facebook group at Group of 5 Guys. You watch the podcast on YouTube, and then you can listen on any of the podcast listening applications. Any current events for the weekend?
Wait a minute. Y'all know I just got back from Vegas, and I got to just share a short story with y'all.
Oh, no.
As a gambling man, Sin City is where I thrive. Yeah. So it was actually a pretty calm weekend, except for yesterday. Yesterday, we're leaving, so we had to get a little bets in before we left, and I'm at the blackjack table with Olivia, and she's doing well. I'm out, so I'm like, you know what? I'm going to leave you here, and I'm headed to the craps table. That's where I make my money. So I roll to the craps table with about 3 bones, and I think I'm winning this baby back. So as I quickly lose the 3 bones, I'm a little frustrated. So I'm headed back. I'm headed back to the blackjack table, and I turn 180 quick, and I am on the move, and I take a 1 step, and then a wheel rolls over my sandal, and I'm like, whoa. And what I couldn't see below me was a man in a scooter. He's got my sandal, so he's spooked. I'm spooked, and the only thing I knew is I couldn't have my LCL blown out, so I was trying to step over him. Well, he gunned it. As I tried to step over, I Bobby Boucher'd this man and took him out.
I don't understand it.
So what it looks like is I'm at the craps table, and I just lost my $300, and I just speared a guy on a scooter, an old man.
First it was preachers, now it's elderly men.
Yeah,
So,
you
yeah,
are
I
a
thought
problem.
Next thing you know, it's gonna be nuns.
I thought I was going to
Menace to
get
society.
I thought I was gonna get kicked out of the casino. Luckily, the pit boss behind me had my back. I helped my buddy up, and he just kept on scooting.
That reminds me of the time in New Orleans at the craps table when Zeke threw the dice across the table and hit a man.
Oh my gosh!
Twice.
Not
That guy
once.
deserved it, though.
Not
Twice.
But
Twice he does it. Well, Zeke,
And
I'm glad you.
he played it off well too. It's a little sweaty in here. Dice, they slipped. There's no way.
Well,
I'm glad you didn't get locked up in
Yeah.
Vegas there. I'm glad you're here with us.
yeah, no, it was a very unfortunate situation, but we're all good. I thought I was getting kicked out. I was leaving anyways, but we're all good. He was a good sport about it. Kept on scooting.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm not going to be a good sport about, and it's this Big 12 expansion business. I mean, UCF, Houston, Cincinnati. I mean, they made it official. They accepted. I think it's 2023, but I mean, as far as I'm concerned, we are no longer your advocates for the remaining time here while you're with the Group of 5.
No.
Done with you.
Wrote a letter about it. Every
The American
time a Group of
Conference
5
already-
team beats UCF, Houston, which Houston, congratulations, you live in a great city. But UCF and Cincinnati get beat by a Group of 5 team. I'm counting it as like a freaking plus. Now, granted, well, I'll still celebrate Cincinnati and UCF if they make a contention of the playoffs. We're not going to just shoot. You're not a UConn. We're not going to treat you like UConn, but we're going to.
Yeah.
That one, it hurt a little bit.
You know,
Go ahead, Russ.
well, no, my whole thing is this, and we talked about it with Joey there on his podcast last week.
Yeah.
Is like, you know, it's not just football they're looking at. They're looking at the entire athletic program. And when I look at the Big 12 post Texas and Oklahoma era, right? I look at athletic brands, and I don't see anybody in the Big 12 outside of Texas and Oklahoma that are bigger brands than what you already had in the American. As far as, you know, obviously UCF and Cincinnati, but SMU, you know, Navy, Tulsa, Tulane, East Carolina is a big brand. Yeah, they've been struggling as of late in football, but I mean, it just
money talks, and I think that they're, you know, the TV contract deals, obviously, they're probably a little better than American, but as a regular college football fan, I never really watched the Big 12 football on Fox. I really ever. I'd watch an American game over that, and that might just be me. But I look at it logistically, though, or geographically. UCF going to the Big 12 just doesn't make a lot of sense. Cincinnati makes more sense. Houston obviously makes more sense. Okay, I'm fine with Houston. But UCF, like, why would y'all stay there? Maybe if they got an ACC bid or potentially like an SEC bid, okay, congratulations, go enjoy it. But the Big 12, it's just like you're just begging to get out of the American Conference. I don't understand.
Well, I mean, you just imagine like UCF. Imagine like, you know, UCF women's volleyball or something having to travel to Provo, Utah to play Utah on a Wednesday night. I mean, that's a nightmare for, you know, the whole student athlete idea.
Yeah, I hope that extra money you got covers the extra travel expenses. I don't get the move at all. Like it's a horizontal move. It's not a vertical move to me. So I'm all about being loyal to where you're at and to where you've been, and just stay where you're at and build the American to try and get the American to be a Power 5. Why go to the Big 12 or, like you said, Sprouse? I mean, all your big names left. I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
And I'll just a quick counter to that. And I don't disagree with any of you guys, but those schools are not out here to build the conference. They're out there to build their university and to build their brand. Not to argue with what they had. You're right. You're absolutely right saying they had the brand name there, but they're not out here to build a conference. They're out here to build their university, and this is the next step up, which is unfortunate, but.
There's no doubt about that.
Is.
I think I'm trying to argue. And there's no doubt it's a step up for them, kind of. But
I don't think so.
The UCF to Big 12 just does not make sense to me. That one.
The Big 12 has been sorry for years.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm sorry. Texas has been trash. Oklahoma has been the only team of any type of relevance in the Big 12. Like, y'all have fun.
I mean, from a football standpoint, like, Jesse, you mentioned it. Like, I'm more excited about watching UCF play Memphis than I'm ever going to be about UCF playing,
for sure,
Texas Tech or any of those guys. So I don't know. I mean,
UCF beats Texas Tech. Houston couldn't do it. I'm pissed at Houston. I don't know why.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, this week, I mean, Tip, you brought it up. I mean, this had to be the most frustrating week. It was stereotype Group of 5 letdowns. A bunch of Jesse, you tweeted it from the account. A bunch of almost wins over some. Speaking of big brand names, I mean, App State. I mean, they step for step probably outplayed Miami the whole game, and they just couldn't close the deal. Toledo, that was the worst one, because you go down and you win. You win the game, and there's a minute 20 left, and then in typical Group of 5 fashion, Notre Dame goes down there in a couple plays in like 20 seconds. And
how many times that happened already this year? Like with La Tech, Mississippi State. I know I missed last week's podcast, but that one really disturbed me. But you got the Toledo, Notre Dame, La Tech, Mississippi State. I consider Miami App State one of those kind of games as well. There's more, but it's just how many times is it going to happen?
Well, yeah, I mean, ECU had South Carolina beat and blew it. Your Tulsa almost redeemed themselves, Jess.
Don't get me started.
And they almost beat Oklahoma State. They blew it. Hell,
Tulsa's dead to me.
One of the more unlikely ones was Miami of Ohio had Minnesota on the ropes, and they couldn't.
Yep.
They couldn't. I mean, it was
Couldn't finish.
It was so frustrating as a fan rooting for the quote unquote underdog. I mean, it was a tough freaking weekend, man.
Yeah.
I look at this.
Yeah, it was.
The Tulsa deal, I just want to get this off my chest because I wasn't here last week. Looking at you, Tulsa, I feel more like a stepdad coming in and being with a woman who has this child and she told me how good he was at football. So I'm telling all my friends how good my stepson is at football. And we're going to practice, and they're in shorts, and he's looking shorts. He's looking good. I'm like, dude, my son Tulsa here is a star. And then we have a little practice game against a team we should destroy. But my stepson doesn't have the right pads on. He's missing a couple of knee pads. His pants aren't fitting him right, kind of like missing a few starters. And they lose to a team they should have won. Then the next week, I get him all the stuff. He's got everything right on. He's playing a team he should lose. He's probably going to lose to, but they should. If he plays good, he's going to win. And they lose again. And now my friends are looking at me like, what the crap? So, and he's got red hair. So he's kind of like my redhead stepchild, Tulsa is. So I'm Tulsa, it's kind of off my dark horse list now, and it's time to move on.
Yeah, you're about 2 weeks too late for me on that, Grish. Being off Tulsa on the dark horse. I'll tell you a team who I was very disappointed in. Thought they were going to have a much better showing as Buffalo.
Yeah,
I was high on Buffalo. They looked good. And they were playing a cupcake the week before, but
3 points,
man. Yeah, I mean, that's
especially after
pitiful.
Nebraska struggled against Illinois.
Exactly, man. That hurt.
I thought Buffalo, just because of the way that, typically in these games, especially in the Big Ten, they're bigger, and that's what wears on them. But Buffalo is one of those teams that does that to teams, leans on them with their big guys, their line, and their run game, and they couldn't get anything going offensively. It was That was a tough one to watch. They looked like two Big Ten teams playing, honestly, how boring it was.
It was very boring.
But, hey, in good news, you did have Coastal I don't even consider Kansas. I mean, I don't know how you can consider that a Power 5 football team.
Big 12. Big 12.
That's right. Yeah. Hey, UCF, congratulations. You get to play
Yep.
Kansas every year. But Coastal, I mean, they did what they were supposed to do. I mean, they look good, man. I mean, they've answered, 2 games where they were heavy favorites. They have answered the call.
Yep.
So they've looked good. And then San Diego State in the nightcap, they absolutely crushed Arizona.
Looked great. Yeah.
Really good. And that defense, I've been saying that defense is really, really good. The offense showed up, man. They showed up too. The Mountain West, I let me tell you, there's a lot of good football being played in the Mountain West right now.
I've been wrong about a lot of crap this year so far. I'll admit it. I've been wrong a lot. I mean, I said Arkansas loses every one, and they dismantled Texas, who just dismantled Louisiana. We'll get to that probably whenever. But something I was right on, I like Wyoming. Wyoming is a very good ball club, and they have, Isaiah Noir, who is a boss at wide receiver. And that was a good game. NIU, that's another thing I was wrong on. I thought NIU was going to be bad this year. They got a pretty good ball club.
Yeah, I mean, NIU, they go in and they beat Georgia Tech week 1, and they were, I mean, I hate to say it, they're perennial bottom feeders in the MAC. And then they took Wyoming. I mean, they had them. Another one. I mean, it's 2 group of 5 teams, but they had Wyoming where they should have beat them, and didn't. So they're, good on them.
Credit though, going to NIU, handling business. So now they're 2-0. I like Wyoming.
Watch out for the Cowboys, man.
Yeah.
All right, y'all got to give me 1 minute on Coastal. I'm 30 seconds.
Take all the time you need.
Coastal, I've been on since the beginning, and I know they got a lot of hype, and they still have to prove themselves. But if you look at Kansas, that was one of the few games that I watched this weekend. But if you look at Kansas had the size, they had the speed, they had all the comparables that you look at when 2 teams match up. And I think where Coastal comes in and really impressed some people is that they actually had comparable size. And as a Sunbelt team, typically undersized, they came in, they had the speed, they had the physicality and the offensive scheme to really dominate Kansas in the second half, because they had some big plays, some exciting plays that you'll have with the bigger, faster, stronger guys. But Coastal, I think, gained a little bit more credibility. They got a lot to prove in that game, but those guys played well.
I look at that game kind of like it was like Jon Snow versus Hodor, and Coastal being Jon Snow.
You're not giving Kansas enough credit.
Kansas is garbage.
Hodor's
They're a Big
strong.
12 team. They beat a team out of one of the worst conferences in the country. Bravo, Coastal. Good for you.
Well, Coastal, they what I thought would have been
not only just beat them, but beat them by 25 and a half. So
look,
give them that.
I'll tell you this: they've covered for me both weeks. I won a nice little paycheck on Friday.
Yeah, they go. They actually go to Buffalo this weekend. So
we get this.
I would have been a little more excited about that game had Buffalo showed up against Nebraska. But also Kansas. I like Coach Leipold. He came from Buffalo, and he was a big Group of 5 guy supporter. So maybe he's building something over there at Kansas, and I wish he would come back to the Group of 5. But
we can either kind of stick what we said at the beginning of the season. For at least me, Sprouse, you may change your mind, but this could be a sneak up game for Coastal. Buffalo comes in and wins. Now, is it likely the way Coastal's playing right now? Probably not. But I had on my predictions, I had a Coastal losing to Buffalo. It's at Buffalo, right?
Yeah, it's at Buffalo. Preseason, I was with you. I mean, we'll get to it here in a little bit, but I may have
good, man. They're good. They're ranked number 2 on our top 10. So.
Other than that Wyoming game, you had Memphis and Arkansas State put on an offensive freaking clinic. I mean, the numbers for those guys, we put out our top 5 Group of 5 stat lines, and honestly, we could have done all 5 from either of the 2 teams. But, Memphis QB throws for 410 yards and 5 teeters. I mean, just filling up the stat sheet. And then Arkansas State in a loss. What's Jeff Foreman have? Tip, you got that his stat line?
Yeah, I do. He had 8 receptions, 198 yards, and a touchdown.
Yeah, it was tough. That's one of those where it's like tough. You don't want to see, sort of like that Wyoming NIU game. You like are rooting for both of them. You're just rooting for keep scoring, keep this thing rolling.
Needed Arkansas State plus 5.5. Couldn't do it.
I would say if you rate both offenses, I know there was a lot of teeters on the Memphis side, but I think that the Arkansas State offense, I would rate them, grade them a win over Memphis in this one. Now, they can't stop a nosebleed, but their offense looked good. They threw it around a lot, and I was impressed with them.
Yeah, well, there's Zeke once again, another Sunbelt team that could spoil, an App State season or a Coastal season. Or I honestly, I don't know what Louisiana's doing. I mean, the Louisiana schools. I mean, you look at La Tech, and I think it was Jeff that you said this after they blew that game against Mississippi State. You were like, look out, because it could snowball on them now.
Yep.
And they barely beat Southeast Louisiana this weekend. And then the Cajuns barely beat Nicholls State.
I don't know what's going on, man. Maybe it's all the stuff that they've had going on down there. A lot of distractions. I don't know, but it
ain't affecting Tulane.
You're right about that.
Yeah,
Sure
crawfish is spoiled.
Yeah, that puppy's gone.
Yeah,
I'm off the Louisiana Raging Cajun train.
Yeah,
I'm not giving up on them yet. They could definitely spoil. They're not who they thought we were, but
who we thought they were.
They aren't who we thought they were.
They got the win. They got the win, but it is disheartening to see, them going to Texas and putting up an L like that, then Arkansas doing that to Texas. And I'm a kind of guy, I do it and I hate it. I look to see like, well, who did they play? Who did they play? How did they play against this team? So it's like a if-what scenario, but I can't help it. Arkansas dismantles Texas, and then you see what Louisiana did with Texas. It's just concerning to me. I'm like, I've been talking these boys up all season.
We all have. We've all been very high on Louisiana.
They're talented, but
one week is one thing. You have 2 bad weeks in a row now. That's a little different.
Well, and it's like you've had 2 bad weeks where you've not really shown up, and that's a little bit worrisome, especially when you have potentially the best coach, in the group of 5 in Billy Napier. Billy, once again, give us a follow, get on the pod. It's the DMs. It'll be fine. But yeah, they just haven't showed up, and it's worrisome. I mean, but we'll see.
I should know this. Do they play App State or they don't play Coastal? Which one is it?
They don't.
So I wanted to say this. So yeah, they're going to play App State, and that's what is unfair about the situation from App State. Their strength of schedule at the beginning of the year is not judged very hard, so nobody thinks, oh, App State's kind of off the radar. I know they put them kind of close there, but App State has to play Coastal and Louisiana. It's not really fair, and Louisiana, likewise, vice versa, has to turn around and play App State. And I'm not sure if they play Coastal, but it basically eliminates App State's opportunity. I mean, they've got to play 2 tough teams within 2 weeks, and that's what we talked about in the first podcast. And it's like, App State has to beat Coastal in order to play in the conference championship game. But, Louisiana doesn't have to play Coastal until the conference championship game, and it's just tough for App State.
Well, I'll go on record right now and say this. And I love my Cajun fans. I love Louisiana. They play like they did the past 2 weeks. App State's going to smack that ass is what they're going to do. App State is very, very good.
App State is beating the Cajuns. I did in my preseason pick them.
But I can't argue until I see a difference on the field.
Well, the Cajuns, they got a chance to right the ship on Thursday night, and they'll be the ESPN game. They got Ohio coming in, and I mean, if they lay another egg after Ohio, who just got beat by, I think it's Duquesne. I don't think it's Duchesne. There's a Q, but they lost to them.
He looks pretty confident with that face.
Or Duquesne.
I think it's Duquesne. But anyway, Ohio lost to them, which is not a good look. I mean, Ohio is typically one of the better teams in the MAC, and they've not looked good at all this year.
Yeah.
So let's get to these picks for week 3. So that's the Thursday night game. Ohio at Louisiana. Start with you, Jess. Who you got?
I'm gonna stick with my Cajuns. I think they bounce back, probably win by triple digits. So they'll be Louisiana's back, folks.
Tip.
I don't know about triple digits, but I think
Oh, shoot,
Louisiana
sorry.
wins.
I was wondering if I was the only one that heard that.
Face and I was thinking, what? I'm sorry.
They're going to score
100.
100. They're going to win by 100.
The line's only 20, so
I mean, damn things he's ahead. Three Miller Lights. I mean, 3 touchdowns. They went by 3 Millers.
all right, Tip, who you got?
So I think Louisiana wins, but so they're favored by 20. I don't think they cover that 20. If they play like they have the last 2 weeks, they don't cover that 20. They win by single digits.
Yeah, Jeff, who you got?
Tip, I think you're right on. I think Louisiana wins. I don't think they cover.
Zeke?
I think it's a bounce back game for the Cajuns. I don't think they covered 20, but I'm gonna give them 17.
Yeah, I think Cajuns win. It's going to be tough to cover. They're missing their backs from last year. Elijah Mitchell had a hell of a day yesterday in the NFL, and they're missing that. You got UCF at Louisville. Jess?
I'm going to go Louisville.
Tip?
Upset, huh?
I'm going to go UCF.
Jeff?
Yeah, UCF. I think they handle
Zeke?
business.
UCF wins the game. I don't think they cover 7.5. You're gonna have to get me down in that 5.5 line on that one.
Yeah, I like UCF in that game. New Mexico at Texas A&M. Grish?
Okay, Texas A&M.
Tip?
Yeah, I got Texas A&M.
Murph?
Yeah, I think we're all across the board on this.
Yeah, Zeke?
Well, I have to say the line to make this interesting, but it's 27.5. And yeah, they cover that.
That's a tough line, but I think they can cover that.
I mean, no shit. Texas A&M wins.
A&M, well, A&M looked awful this weekend, but
that's why that line scares me.
You think if you want to take the New Mexico State money line?
No, I don't want to take New Mexico on it, but I'm just saying they may.
Mexico.
Yeah. All right, you got Western Michigan at Pitt.
Right.
Jess.
Western Michigan at Pitt. I mean, Pitt did play pretty good against the old Vols there, but they're going to come off a high. I think Western Michigan is going to get the win. I got Western Michigan.
Tip.
I think I got Pitt, but it's going to close one. I don't think they cover the 15.
Jeff.
Man, Grisham's on the old upstate that train this week.
Speak up, Junior.
Yeah, you're right about that. I bossed that one. But no, Pitt. I think Pitt covers 15. They look good. That quarterback looked good beating the Vols. Nothing gives me more pleasure when the Vols lose.
I'm right there with you on that. Zeke, who you got?
Pitt minus 15, and I'm texting Grisham after this. I'm on the side bets.
Yeah, I like Pitt. Boston College at Temple. Jesse.
Boston College.
Tip.
I'll go with the swag bear on this one. I'll go Boston College.
I'm taking Boston College in that game.
BC. Whoever the favorite is, I'm taking.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to look at. Yeah. It's
You got Northern Illinois at Michigan. Jesse.
Man, I don't know what's wrong with my head right now. I'm over here thinking like the opposite of y'all. Because
then take him. Trust your gut.
Take him, baby.
You said it's big. You got to trust it, right?
No.
Just don't bet Vegas. You got to bet me on the
Michigan.
side.
I'm going Michigan. Michigan's going to win that game.
Tip.
Yeah, I got Michigan as well.
Murph.
Michigan, but they do not cover.
Zeke.
Michigan, they do not cover.
Yeah, I'll take Michigan. I like this one here. Nevada -2 at Kansas State. Jess?
I'll take Nevada all day.
Tip.
Nevada 100%.
Murph.
Carson Strong continues his Heisman campaign.
I like it. Zeke.
Nevada, and they cover 2 big.
Yeah, I like Nevada there.
You don't like Dustin Crum?
You ever made a prediction and it's like 5 picks later?
Zeke, it's Nevada.
God, I wish I had said something else.
Nevada.
Is it like you picking Louisville to beat UCF?
Yeah, that kind of just hit me like it's like a curveball to me, and I'm thinking like,
didn't Louisville get?
I don't even know what Louisville's doing this year.
They got smacked by Ole Miss the other night.
Look. Change my pick. UCF. I apologize.
Nope. Once you put it in, it's done. It's like Vegas.
Bet's in.
If I have to stick with it, I'm sticking with it. But UCF fans that are listening, UCF should win that game. So apologies.
Well, do you think? I mean, this would be the ultimate.
I've heard
redemption for-
Louisiana has, or Louisville has the next Lamar Jackson. So
No, they don't. Does Tulsa get the ultimate redemption at Ohio State? Jesse,
My redheaded stepchild will lose again.
Tip,
I got Ohio State. I think they cover the 25.5. They're pissed.
Jeff,
Yeah, Ohio State easy.
yeah, Zeke,
they cover 25.
yeah, Ohio State big. Dustin Crum, Kent State at Iowa. Jesse,
Iowa. Crum
Yeah.
throws 3 interceptions.
Tip, yeah.
Yeah, I got Iowa, and Dustin Crum for Heisman is dead.
Yeah.
Not dead yet. Jeff,
Yeah, Iowa. They get beat up front bad.
yeah, Zeke,
I have Iowa, but I feel like Dustin Crum may throw so many incomplete passes that it's gonna not allow Iowa to milk the clock enough. So Iowa's gonna run the ball so much they're going to be trying to milk the clock. Dustin Crum's gonna be throwing incompletion, stopping the clock. So they may not be able to score 22.5 points.
Yeah, I mean, I think Iowa's going to win the game. I mean, I think you guys are just using this Dustin Crum business to talk bad on me because I said he was going to be a Heisman contender. The guy is a problem because of his athleticism. SMU at La Tech. Jesse, who wins the game?
SMU.
Tip.
I got SMU, and I think they cover the 13.5.
Jeff.
Yep, SMU.
Zeke.
SMU, they cover.
Yeah, SMU. Georgia Southern at Arkansas. Grish.
God, I'm going to take Arkansas. I'm just going against everything I believe in.
Tip.
I got Arkansas as well.
Jeff.
As much as I love Chad Lunsford, man, Arkansas.
Zeke.
Yeah, and Arkansas covers. Sorry, Chad.
Yeah, Georgia Southern has not looked good at all in their first 2 games this year. Quarterback play's been iffy, which we knew it would be the first 2 games at least, but I'll take Arkansas there. Here's a good game here. Ball State at Wyoming. Jess.
Wyoming.
Tip.
Wyoming, they cover the 6.
Murph.
Yep, Wyoming. Xavier Valade has a huge day on the ground.
Zeke.
Wyoming, and they got plenty of room on that 6.
Yeah, I like Wyoming there. Colorado State freaking lost to Vanderbilt this weekend.
Let me down.
They're
Yeah,
at
me too.
Toledo. Jess.
I think Toledo has a big game against them. Toledo.
Tip.
Toledo, and they cover the 14.
Jeff.
Yep, tips right on.
Zeke.
Toledo, and they may have 14 defensive points.
Yeah, Toledo. And I know you guys are giving me hell about old Dustin Crum, but if you do remember, I said
we
Toledo
remember.
was the
We
best team in
remember,
the MAC,
Sprouse.
and I told you how good
you
their
did
defense
call 'em.
was. Yeah, that's right.
You're right
Toledo, huge in that game. Middle Tennessee at UTSA. Jesse Grisham.
UTSA. Sorry, Rick.
Tip.
Sincere McCormick might run for 200 yards in this game. I got UTSA, and they cover the 13.
Jeff.
Bailey Hockman throws for 300 plus yards, 3 TDs, and the Blue Raiders win the game.
Zeke.
Bailey Hockman may throw for 3 TDs. Murph's right about that, but they're not winning this one. So, do they cover? Love to see it, but if I bought it down to 10, I could go with the Blue Raiders, but UTSA.
Yeah, I could see it being a little bit of a shootout, but I like UTSA, unfortunately, to win that game. ECU's schedule non-conference is brutal to start.
Yeah.
Good God.
Jeff Murphy,
Jeff
one win.
Yeah, one win.
Jeff Murphy saw that strength of schedule.
Jeez. So they're at Marshall. Jess, who you got?
Marshall.
Tip.
I got Marshall.
Murph.
Marshall, and they cover.
Zeke.
I got Marshall 3-3 at half, and then they beat them by about 14 to end the game.
Wow. Yeah, I like Marshall. Marshall is kind of under the radar nationally. They're really, really good.
Yeah.
Old Dominion at Liberty. Jess.
Liberty, big.
Tip.
Yep, Liberty big.
Jeff.
Yeah, Liberty wins.
Zeke.
Liberty minus 35. Huge.
Wow.
That
Yeah,
line must have moved.
They beat the
I like
shit
Liberty.
out of Old Dominion.
Yeah. I like Liberty in that game.
Sorry about my language, Swag Bear.
Hey, I might have, if somebody's got the line in front of them, I might have messed this one up too. You got Charlotte at Georgia State. Charlotte, man, has looked really good their first couple games too, and Georgia State has not. Jess, who you got? Just ignore the line. Pick a winner on that. I might have messed that up.
You know what? I'm gonna take Georgia State to win this game. I think they need a big win. I think this is going to be the win they need, so they'll win. Georgia State.
Tip.
I don't care what the line is. I'm picking Charlotte. They are rolling right now. They're hot.
Jeff.
Yeah, I'm with that. I'm with Tip. Charlotte looks good.
Zeke.
So interesting. Here's the updated line on this game.
Wow.
It is actually -4 Georgia State on this, but I'm with the rest of y'all on this. Charlotte's got some momentum. I don't understand this line. Yeah. So if you're looking for a money line bet on this one, I would bet Charlotte.
So.
Vegas sets some traps, man. This might be one of those.
Yeah, I like Charlotte in that game. They've been rolling. Plus, I'm really hoping they're undefeated when we go on that Friday night game.
Georgia State has a lot of talent. It has not shown up yet. So
I like it.
I don't know if that's where that line's coming from or not.
FIU at Texas Tech. Jess.
Texas Tech.
Tip.
Yeah, I got Texas Tech.
Jeff.
Red Raiders.
Zeke.
I like FIU to cover this one. I think they covered 21.
I got Texas Tech. Troy at Southern Miss. Jesse.
Southern Miss favored in this game? Well, I'm thinking Troy.
Tip.
I think I'm going to go with Southern Miss on this one.
Jeff.
I think Troy.
Zeke.
Troy upset.
I like Southern Miss. Central Michigan at LSU. Jesse.
LSU, but they don't cover. Hello there.
Tip. Central Michigan at LSU.
I'm thinking the same thing. I think LSU wins, but 20.5, that for this LSU team, that's a lot of points. So I don't think they cover.
Murph.
Central Miss. I'm sorry, LSU. They don't cover. I'm with Tip on that.
Zeke.
Yeah, Central Michigan and LSU doesn't cover. They're not good.
But hold on. You got LSU winning though, or you got Central Michigan?
I have LSU winning the game.
Yep. Got it.
Central Michigan.
Gotcha. I like LSU. UAB at North Texas. Grish.
UAB.
Tip.
I know it was Georgia, but UAB did not look very well. They did not look very good, but they still win the game. But 13.5, North Texas didn't look that great either. I think they cover the 13.5.
Murph.
Yeah, I think UAB has a little bit of a bounce back game.
Zeke.
UAB 13.5. Georgia was good.
Yeah, I like UAB. Rice at Texas. Jess. Rice at Texas.
I hear you. I'm Texas. They cover.
Tip.
I got Texas. They're favored by 25. I'm probably not touching this one.
Murph.
Longhorns.
Zeke.
Longhorns 25. They're good.
Yeah, unfortunately, Texas. Man, Iowa State is going to UNLV. Jesse, who you got?
Be fun for Iowa State going to Vegas. Iowa State.
Tip.
Yeah, Iowa State big.
Jeff.
UNLV is a little. They're looking pretty rough.
Yeah.
Iowa State.
Zeke.
UNLV sucks. I'd buy Iowa State down 29.5, but they got no problem with that.
Yeah, Iowa State also coming off a tough loss at Iowa or versus Iowa. They're gonna want to make a statement. San Jose State at Hawaii. Jesse.
I'm gonna take San Jose State to cover.
Tip.
This is a sneaky game because Hawaii they play well at home, but I think San Jose State wins.
Jeff.
I think San Jose State coming off that bye week, they beat Hawaii by a couple touchdowns.
Zeke.
Absolutely what Murph said. That bye week to adjust to playing in Hawaii. Nick Starkel lights it up. Hawaii may hang in there the first half, but San Jose State, and I think pretty big.
Yeah, we'll have to look and see. I'd like to know how long San Jose State goes to Hawaii first before that game. I don't know what they do for those, but I
It
like
should
San
be
Jose
there.
State in that. Little Mountain West action: Utah State at Air Force. Jesse Grisham.
I'm really liking Utah State this year. I think Air Force is a really good ball club, but my boy Micah James and the O line's looking good. I'm gonna take Utah State over Air Force.
Tip.
Get it?
I'm Air Force at home. I have to go Air Force on this one.
Murph.
Yeah, the Falcons look good last week in that big game. I'm taking Air Force as much as I hate picking against my buddy.
Zeke.
Sorry, Micah. Air Force. Maybe if you give me 6.5, I'll think about you. But Air Force 9.
Yeah, I like Air Force. The score doesn't really show a blowout, but they beat the hell out of Navy. And they look pretty good. They look really good defensively. Well, let's see what Micah has to say for himself about it, and I'll tell him to his face, look, hey, I don't have a problem with it. Utah State O-line coach Micah James coming up. Coming to us now from Logan, Utah, is a great friend of ours. Guy me and Jesse got to share the O-line room with at Middle Tennessee. We got Utah State offensive line coach Micah James. Coach Micah James, how's that sound? Welcome to the Group of Five Guys podcast.
Appreciate you guys. It's a huge honor to get interviewed by the Group of Five Guys. It does sound weird to hear y'all call me Coach Micah James, but
Mike, I've been
Sorry,
keeping up
dude.
with you since you left MTSU, and your path to success has been nothing but inspirational. Like you've gone from school to school. You put in the hard work, hard time, and us three, we can say we're very proud of you, man. You're doing it the right way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. It's been a grind, but I'm extremely thankful for every step of the way. And my time in middle is probably two of my favorite years of my life. So all y'all were a part of that in some way. So I'm excited to be on here with you guys.
Yeah, I mean, like you started at Middle Tennessee playing ball, and you went to UMass in the Northeast, and now you're in the mountains at Utah State. So just football wise, is there any difference you've noticed, or is it all kind of the same to you?
It's been everything's always a little bit different regionally. I will say this, I don't want to say football is more important in different places or anything like that, but the investment financially sometimes is a little bit different for like a high school level.
Right.
When you get to college, it's pretty much all everybody's all in on the football aspect of it. But like on the high school level, it's been a little bit different. The way you recruit's a little bit different. The guys that you recruit, the type of talent that you're looking at, it's been interesting, but it's been fun.
I say outside of football, Mountain West is probably the most beautiful area for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, there's no doubt. Logan is absolutely beautiful. I think I told you, Jesse, when I saw you in Vegas that, like you look right outside of my windows behind me, there's mountains right there. There's mountains we're right in the middle of the valley. It's really pretty, man. It's a beautiful place.
When my senior year, we went to BYU. That's why I was getting my ass kicked by the nose guard. I was just looking at the scenery. I was just like, good Lord.
I don't know if you want me to call you Micah or Coach, but
Michael works.
Micah, I imagine having you and then with Coach Anderson, spending time at Arkansas State, and you're a Southeast guy. How are you guys still recruiting in the Southeast, Georgia, Florida, Arkansas, Alabama, all that?
Well, obviously we're starting with the stuff that's touching the state, and we're doing a great job in the state of Utah right now. There's some ballers in the state, some really good football players, especially offensive line wise. All of our line commits are from the state, but we are doing some spot recruiting in South Georgia and Florida as well. So
Awesome, man.
That's interesting. That's good.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
So we always do a facilities Friday. We kind of showcase the Group of Five facilities around the country. Utah State, man, they got some of the nicest facilities we've seen. Give us a little insight to what you guys got going on over there.
Yeah, so obviously we got the sports complex here that houses our academics, our coaches' offices, and our training room. It's actually really beautiful, really well kept, pretty brand new, if I'm not mistaken, built around 2014. And then we just actually, Coach A, first head coaching move is I'm gonna build a players lounge. So he built a players lounge right outside of my office. It's really nice, pool tables, TVs, and air hockey. I think our weight room is top of the line. It's got everything you need, a little bit more. And the windows, you got glass pane windows, so the whole time you're lifting, you're looking outside, you're seeing that beautiful scenery that we've been
There
talking
you
about
go.
as well.
That's awesome.
And that's awesome. Then obviously the stadium, when you look inside either end zone, you're looking at the mountains. So it's a great place, man, and really thankful and blessed to be here, man.
So Micah, I mean, with good facilities, you get good players, and with good players, you're going to get what? You're going to get wins. So you're 2-0 right now. You went up to week 1 to Washington State, I believe, and I'm going to admit, I'll speak for behalf of all Group of 5 guys. I think we all chose you to lose that ball game, slap our hand.
Yeah.
But you know what? We picked you to win last week, and I'm just going to stay it right here. I got you beating Air Force this week, but you enter conference play. How are you feeling about the Mountain West race?
Well, I'm a big 1 week at a time guy. If anything, my time in middle taught me every week who knows who's going to win, who knows, especially at this level, who's going to show up and play their best. But in my mind, I think we got a pretty competitive team, and that's the biggest thing. These guys are like dogs from that standpoint and play really hard, and that's what we kind of preach. And when you play hard, you always give you opportunity to win the game.
Right. So Coach, going into this Air Force game as an offensive guy, you probably know going against them, you're going to get less possessions than you typically would. So how do you make sure on offense that you capitalize on those opportunities and don't have 3 and outs and you put your defense back on the field?
That's a great question. So one of the big things that I've been kind of emphasizing to our guys is just you got to make sure that we start fast on first down. We got to move the ball, and they also have to understand that you're going to get 8 to 10 series when you're playing against a team like Air Force. So, making sure that you have the mental preparation always puts you in the best situation for you to actually be able to operate at a high level. And you kind of just continue just to work on your crafts. Technique's important. Knowing where you're going is important, and you just keep on banging on those things until hopefully you bust it open when you play against these guys. These guys are really, really good, and they've been really good on defense these first 2 games. So we just got to make sure that we're handling our business.
Yeah, the Mountain West, we've been watching it a lot the last couple of weeks. It's a tough conference, man. You got a lot of good teams out there. What do you think, from your perspective, what's it going to take to get Utah State, to remain, kind of get up to the top of the conference and stay there, for the years to come?
Obviously, recruiting is always important. I had a coach when I was a GA used to say this all the time. I'm a better coach when I got better players. So, making sure that you're being consistent on that front, and then, making sure that we're doing the things that our culture demands, playing hard, playing for our teammates, making sure that we're staying on top of the little things. Coach Anderson says it all the time, like there's no such thing as little things. Everything matters, and the as far as continuing to have success in this league, I mean, you just got to make sure you're bringing it every week in and week out. And you seen it early in the season. This conference isn't for play, man. These guys are there's real teams, there's real players all throughout the conference. So making sure that you always have your A game ready to go is important.
No doubt.
It's funny. All my O-line coaches told me that too. I don't know if they were discrediting me or what. I'm a better coach and I have better players. So,
you were like, well,
I'm all you got.
I don't think you're a very good coach. So what do you want? I just think, man, I think it's so crazy that you're sitting here coaching O-line at such a high level, and
awesome.
Our junior year, Mike, I guess it was your senior year. That was the most fun O-line room of all time. I don't care who your players are now. You had more fun with
we had a good group.
We had a good group, and it was fun, man. And I know we gave them coaches hell. I can tell you that much.
There's no doubt. There's very few O-line rooms like the one we had, where everybody got along. We all hung out with each other. We all respected each other. But we had a great time, and luckily we even got some of our coaches to loosen up a little bit, 'cause I was a little worried about that piece over there.
All jokes aside, though, I really feel like that's one of the key components of having a good O-line. You got to have that bond between your 5 players. And honestly, our junior year or your senior year, we had 7 or 8 that you had to have good camaraderie with because we were constantly rotating guys in. But I'm just curious, man. You're coaching now, and I probably should know this, but what are you on your 6th, 7th year now coaching?
Yeah, something like that. I think this is season 8.
You have 8 seasons, almost a decade. God, we're getting old. But any coaches from our past that you take anything, any coaching techniques from, or the way you yell at players or make them do up downs for 2 minutes for just hitting the bag wrong? I'm just curious.
Or do you not use a whistle and you say tweet after plays?
All right. Full disclosure, I do not use a whistle. I am a tweet guy.
Really? What?
Oh, no.
Question's over. That's it. You're a tweet guy. Oh,
I am a tweet guy. Hey, look, for Coach helped me for 3 years, and I forgot. I guess one of my first opportunities to be a coach, I forgot my whistle, and I was just like, well, I'm a tweet guy now. I swore I wasn't going to be initially, but it ended up being that way.
I had to say the story while I'm thinking about it. I apologize, Mike. I just interrupted you. When we were talking about tweet, do y'all remember that spring practice when we were doing the explosions into the sled? And this was Coach Ellerby's first or second day with us, and the sled was locked up. It was locked. And he was going to try to show us how he explodes into it. And when he did it, he just went neck first into the sled and just about broke his neck. And we're just sitting there like, Jesus Christ.
I forgot about that. I'm not going to lie to you. I completely forgot about that.
Do that for your players. That'll create what?
Don't do that, Micah. Make sure it's unlocked.
Yeah.
Oh man, I do gotta know this. I do gotta know this, Micah. Are there any swag bears that you've had under your tutelage the last few years coaching?
Oh man, that's a great question. Jesse's a mix of, I'm gonna live my college life and I actually love football, and that's a rare mix. You know what I mean? So there's been some guys who've kind of been a little bit of that, but it's hard to be like Swag Bear. Like Swag Bear
really difficult
about ball. He loved ball, but he also loved to party. So
one life to live, baby. Hey, I'll go to practice. I'll give 110. I'm probably gonna go to Whiskey Dixie.
Well, Michael, we'll let you hit the road here and get back to it. But we're going to give you the last little bit here. Coach Micah James, Utah State O-line coach. The floor is yours. If you want to give your recruiting pitch, your pitch to your fans, your get your guys motivated for this game, whatever you want. All you.
Well, one thing I wanted to make sure I did, the herd last Friday was unbelievable. I don't know if you guys caught any of the game. We had a lightning delay. We had a lighting delay. Our lights went out for a little bit. And that crew stuck out there for an hour and a half, pass kick, and they were rowdy the entire game going into the fourth quarter. I want to give a great shout out to them. We talk about great group of five fan bases. You can't not talk about the herd. They were freaking awesome, and that's what we're going to need going forward. So I want to shout out to them. We don't have another home game for 2 weeks, but I can't wait to get back out in front of that crew.
Love it.
That's awesome, man.
I love it, man. Well, Coach Micah, Coach James, we're proud of you, man.
Yeah,
this is
really
this
proud
is good
of you,
stuff,
man.
dude. I mean, we'll have to catch up, offline and tell a bunch of stories, but we appreciate you coming on.
We need to get out there, man. We need to make a trip next season or something and come see you and check it out, man.
Let me know. I got 2 guest bedrooms. Y'all are more than welcome to it. You guys are always family. So, I appreciate you guys letting me on.
Appreciate you, man.
All right, Micah.
Love you, man.
Right.
Good luck this weekend.
Good
luck.
Love you guys. Go Aggies.
I love that guy, Micah James.
Good memories, good stories of that guy.
Yeah, really good. And what's he got to be 31 or 32 years old at, pretty darn good Mountain West school right now, just climbing the ladder. So
yeah,
good for him.
Really, really proud of him, man. He's an awesome dude, and I no doubt he's a great coach.
Yeah, and they got a big one, man. I mean, I don't think I told him to his face, but I'm still picking Air Force. But
I told him for you.
Yeah, it's a good. I mean, that's going to be a good Mountain West game. But
It is.
So we go into the top bunch of games for the weekend. There's a lot of good games once again. But let's just get started. You got Utah at San Diego State. Jesse, who you got?
Oh boy, I'm gonna take Utah.
Tip, who you got?
Give me San Diego State.
I like it, Murph.
I'm on the Aztec train, man. I want to see him beat Utah this week. Aztecs.
Zeke.
I can roll with my boys here. A little San Diego State action. I like that.
I'm either going to be really up after this week or really down because y'all took everything besides what I picked.
Well, Jess, I'm going to go with you on this one. I think Utah bounces back after that tough loss to BYU. So how about that, man?
The ground's cold. Hell froze over.
Yeah. Arkansas State scored a ton of points. They're at Washington. Jesse, who you got?
Like Zeke said, that defense is a little suspect to me. I'm going to take Washington to win this game.
Tip.
Yeah, I got Washington as well.
Murph.
Yeah, that traveling, to the West Coast, I think it's going to be tough for him.
Zeke.
I just took Arkansas State out of that parlay just because I have faith in their offense, but that defense, I mean, I think there's a couple holes in it. So
yeah, Washington might light them up. I think Washington wins that game. Man, I wish this game would have happened a week ago. Coastal Carolina at Buffalo. Jess?
I'm taking Buffalo. I think Coastal gets upset this week.
Oh boy. Tip.
I got Coastal big. I think they cover that 10.5.
Murph.
After that poor showing in Nebraska, Coastal covers.
Yeah. Zeke.
Coastal, baby. Yeah. Keep riding that train, baby.
I'm telling you, a week ago I would have said Buffalo here, but Buffalo upset me. So I'm going Coastal. Couple big ones here. You got Tulane at Ole Miss. Tulane's looked pretty good this year. Jesse, who you got?
I'm gonna take I'm taking Tulane. I just know y'all are gonna say Ole Miss, but dude, I like Sincere Haynesworth. It's time for him. Let's run the ball against Ole Miss. Let's get an SEC win. Tulane's playing too good this year not to get a big win like Ole Miss. I'm going Tulane.
I like it. Hey, I like the pick. Tyler Tipton, who you got?
I'm gonna go Ole Miss at home.
Murph.
Ole Miss take the over in this game. A lot of points.
What is scored. I was gonna say, what is the over in that game?
I don't know what it is off the top of my head, but take it because they're gonna. Ole Miss can score and Tulane can score.
Zeke.
I'm with Murph on the over. I don't know what it is, but I'm down to take it.
Ole Miss wins though.
Ole Miss wins definitely, but Tulane can score some points as long as who's the quarterback that turned it over 3 times last game against Oklahoma. As long as he doesn't turn it over 3 times, they'll be all right.
Michael Pratt. Yeah. You bring up a great point because I'm going to ride with old Swag again on this one, and I think Pratt outplays another overhyped quarterback at Ole Miss, and I think Tulane checks the box this weekend.
Spencer Rattler's lucky I was off last week to talk about Tulane.
Here's
one.
DM him. Yeah, shoot him a DM. I'm sure he'll get right back to you. Here's a good one out west for Murph here, but Fresno State at UCLA. Both have looked pretty darn good this year. Jesse, who you got winning this game?
I got UCLA winning this game.
Tip.
Yeah, as much as I hate to make this pick, I'm going to go UCLA.
Murph.
Let him fly. Jake Hayner. Take the Bulldogs. Taking down the Bruins.
Zeke.
Let him ride. Let him ride at -10. Let's see what he can do.
But who
Fresno
wins?
State.
Fresno State wins it.
No. Wait a minute.
UCLA's favorite.
UCLA wins.
Fresno covers.
Jake Hayner's gonna bring it close.
Now I'm gonna play the game that again nobody likes to do. Fresno State had Oregon on the ropes. Oregon just went and put a whooping on Ohio State. UCLA is not on that level just yet. I like Fresno State upset.
Yeah,
Book
baby.
It. Book it.
UCLA blew out Hawaii. UCLA goes. Sorry,
Ho-
UCLA hosted
Fresno
LSU.
State is not Hawaii.
No, we're talking about UCLA and Fresno. I'm talking about he was going to Fresno's what all they've done. I'm saying but UCLA they blew out Hawaii. They
did
beat an SEC LSU. I'm saying UCLA is pretty good, man. I mean,
they're good. No, they're
good.
2 weeks
Hawaii
ago I would have
is
said
not
Fresno
good.
State, but
It's definitely going to be a good game. Like it's going to be a great game. to
I'm
watch.
excited to watch it.
Yeah, and now I mean we said this when Fresno went to Oregon, but now ain't nobody going to be able to play the we overlooked them card. So
yeah,
they're going
that's
to
true.
UCLA is going to bring their best, and Fresno's going to bring their best. I think we got a pretty darn good game. Oklahoma State at Boise State. Jesse Grisham.
I just don't like Oklahoma State. I'm going Boise State.
Tip.
Boise State at home, and I think they cover the 4.5.
Yeah. Murph.
Boise is really good at home. Really good.
Zeke.
Potato poppers at the house, baby.
Can you make sure you clip that for Zeke this week so we don't have to get
That's true.
100 text messages about Zeke getting his 5-second potato poppers of fame there?
He's got it. This whole stuff will
Absolutely.
be in
Please
there.
make sure you do that. That's direction from the CEO right there. Make sure you do that.
I like Boise State also. Mississippi State at Memphis. Jesse Grisham.
I'm taking Mississippi State in this one.
Tip.
Mississippi State favored by 3. Memphis at home. Give me the Tigers.
Love it. Jeff Murphy.
I'm with you, Tip. They scored a lot of points last week. Yeah. I think Mississippi State can't hang with them.
Yeah. Zeke.
Mississippi money line, or I'm sorry, Memphis money line. Mississippi is a little
yeah, they should
get
have lost
some holes in that D too. Yeah.
It's going to depend on which team shows up because you have
that's right.
who showed up against Arkansas State, but then you have Mississippi State who showed up against NC State, but they beat.
Ain't no
La
cowbells
Tech.
in Memphis.
They
baby.
laid a goose egg against La Tech and came back and beat them. Whoever shows up.
Yeah, I'll take Memphis. I mean, they had 4 or 5 skill guys that just put up like record numbers, so I look for them to light it up again. This, man, it sucks that Indiana came out the gate so slow because this was a huge game for the group of 5. Cincinnati at Indiana. Jesse, who you got?
Cincinnati pulverizes them.
Tip.
Cincinnati on the road, favored by 3. I'm taking Cincinnati, and they cover.
Murph.
Cincy win by a touchdown.
Zeke.
Cincinnati, and they're comfortable at 3.
Yeah, I like Cincinnati. Big statement game for them. Try to. Side note, it's really been pissing me off that like you'll see the whole top 25 just jump 3, 4, 5 spots. They beat anybody. Cincinnati and Coastal just sit there, go back and forth, no matter what they do. So I'm hoping Cincinnati just smacks Indiana.
It's the suits up there at ESPN, man. They make all these decisions. Michigan magically hops up into the top 25.
What's going to be the frustrating part is when Cincinnati goes to the Big 12 and is having this same success.
Immediately top 5.
Exactly. 100%. Yep. That's going to happen.
And you just watch it. I'm going to say it now. You watch when Cincinnati beats Notre Dame in a couple weeks, and they're going to be like, well, Notre Dame's down. I mean, they almost lost to Toledo, but right now they're like, well, Notre Dame's undefeated, whatever. But, hey, anyway, Zeke, I see you working really hard over there. I want to hear about this moneymaker you got for us this weekend. Let's see what Zeke's parlay of the week is. Give it to us.
This is one. I'm sure I'll have another one come out later in the week, but this is just a Saturday parlay. I've got Cincinnati, and I bought it down to 1.5. So Cincinnati, basically -2. Toledo, 12.5. Charlotte loses by 6. Air Force, 6.5. Nevada, bought it down to a 0.5 point. Basically a pick 'em. UAB, -10. Wyoming, the Cowboys, -5.5. San Jose State, -6. They railroad them. That is an 8-game parlay to paying 20, risking $25, paying $852. App State money line.
App State always money line. That's the mantra for the rest of the way. Just take it, man.
Well, Zeke, you were close last week. One game away, man. 1 game away.
Yeah, it was tough. Heartbreakers.
Yeah. Well, what was it? Colorado State losing to freaking Vanderbilt? Wasn't that the one that did you in? Good God.
That was the dick kicker.
All right. Well, hey, we'll go to last call. And since you were off last week, Jesse, glad to have you back. I just want to give you the opportunity to go ahead. Yep. Crack your knuckles, take a deep breath, defend yourself for any comments that we gave to you last week.
Well, first off, let me say I was gone last week and I was with my Jersey family. Shout out Richard. I hear you, buddy. Father-in-law, guy who lives to party. He and the Rutgers, they know how to tailgate, boys. They got after it. And so I had a marvelous Saturday and I had to do my party on Monday. Missed out what y'all did on the podcast. What I saw and heard that bothered me the most was you run your damn mouths about fantasy football, about me picking up some tight ends. And who's winning week 1, boys? My team is impeccable. They are the best team in the league. I got Travis Kelce 1. I got Josh Jacobs 2. Why'd you get Josh Jacobs at 2? Because I wanted a running back. And I got George Kittle at 3. And, it's so funny. All I'm seeing right now is a bunch of memes about how people are loading up on tight ends. I'm a meme starter in a good way. So my fantasy team, my fantasy season is starting off on a good note. I think that's Zeke lost week 1. I think Tipton lost week 1. I think Murph lost week 1. Me and Sprouse, high five, buddy.
That's right.
I lost because Fitzpatrick got hurt.
Who starts a 45-year-old wash-up quarterback over Matt Stafford? I'm sorry.
And I lost because Jesse drafted freaking Josh Jacobs in the 2nd round instead of Tyreek Hill.
Who ended up with
for candy and nuts, Tipton? We'd all have a Merry Christmas.
Who ended up with the Patty Mahomes Tyreek Hill combo?
Oh, that was who I'm playing this week,
God.
Matt Sprouse.
Good collusion, Sprouse.
What a squad I have. Well, hey, it's been fun as always. 7th episode of this. Always, you can watch it on YouTube. You can listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all the other listening apps. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook at Group of Five Guys. Don't forget to DM us or email us your questions you might have for us or for any of our guests that we have. Micah James, thanks again for joining us. We will see you all next week after another awesome week of football. We're out.